Germany. This is Jessica Jacobs. How are you?
Good. How are you? How's everything going in the States?
Oh, it's fantastic. Everything's calm and nobody's outraged about anything. We're just loving life, man. Sitting over here at the hub.
That's great.
Yeah. So you were just telling me that you have an athlete here at the hub right now as we speak. One of your
I do. My athlete from just outside of she lives in Georgia. She was in I'm gonna butcher this, but I think it's Warner Robins, Georgia. She drove in. She's actually gonna go to your trail camp this weekend, and unfortunately, I was supposed to be a part of it, but this tiny little thing called Corona or COVID, I don't know if you've heard of it. It is not allowing me to fly from Europe to the States. So she came in a day early to do a swim analysis with Robbie because I told her she needed to. I've worked with Beth Schaefer for a long time, and I've, never have had an opportunity to have a swim analysis. So she came in a day early for the camp, and I said, you must see Robbie. So I believe I just got a couple pictures from her, and she just finished with it. And no, but you guys Robbie didn't kill her. I'm so proud.
Yeah, no, I saw her in the tank. She was looking good.
That's awesome.
She's like a lot faster now.
She was she felt like, it's always scary to go, number one, you're meeting someone brand new, and then to, have somebody like look at you in that arena. That's got to be very intimidating, but I'm so proud of her.
Oh yeah, a celebrity like Coach Robbie.
Yes.
That's intimidating.
She's going to get an autograph. I can just see it now. I think she was more excited about going into the boots, the Normatec boots.
Yeah, that's what everybody does. They get off the...
She's like, what is it like? I'm like, oh my God, it's like getting squeezed by a bunch of really hot guys on your legs.
Oh, Jesus.
No.
Is that what it's like? No wonder I don't like it. No, I'm kidding. So like...
Well, for you hot chicks, okay?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's funny because like everybody that comes in town and they get off the plane or out of the car, it's like they just walk right in without saying anything, slide into Normatec boots. And I'm like, welcome to town. Okay, I've just been waiting for these. It's like, man, it's like a new addiction.
My daughter uses them after cross-country practice almost every night. So
yeah.
I'm like,
I bet you didn't when you were a kid.
You can do your homework and get your squeeze on. So
yeah, you were rubbing dirt on it back in the day.
Yeah, no, this is back in the day. It was, oh, you just had practice. Okay, now go do your chores.
Chores, yeah.
Get on your feet some more.
Yeah, right. So, all right. So you're how long have you been coaching with C26 again?
It has been
about a year, right?
Almost exactly 1 year. Yeah. Like shortly after I moved here, Robbie let me kind of unpack for about a week, and then he was like, "Okay, you're starting to work." So yeah, it's been a year.
It was like kind of the coronation was the podcast in Madison, right, or sort of around that time, and then you went to Germany, and now you're coaching, and you're coaching athletes from around the world, much like we are.
Yes.
What are some of the challenges going on right now?
With remote athletes, or
no, just in general with your athletes, psychology and things of that nature.
I think the great, it's when all these races started getting canceled, I think as a coach, your biggest fear was, oh my God, are people going to want to quit? Are they going to lose motivation? Are they going to get depressed because they're, you got two types of athletes. You got the people who absolutely love to race and they train to race. And then you have the people who like the race is the carrot. It's I'm doing this because I have to have an excuse to train, but they love the training. They love the process. And I have thankfully found that a lot of my athletes truly enjoy the process and the day-to-day, having something that's theirs that COVID hasn't been able to take away. COVID may be able to take away, their ability to travel, to see friends, to see family, to go to races, the ability to maybe even go to your job. But this is the one thing that they have been able to truly control, which is I can still go out and run. I can still go out and bike or get on my trainer. The swim, has been touch and go with some people. Some people have been able to go into the pool. Some people have been able to get into a lake this summer, especially. But some people we've had to just make them more of duathletes, so to speak, this year.
Okay.
But it's been wonderful because, you know, of all the athletes I was working with a year ago, I have not lost really anybody. You know, if anybody has had to stop, it's been other external factors, but it hasn't been because of COVID. So that was really awesome to see that there's been that motivation to better themselves with or without a race on the calendar.
Yeah.
And they full well knew their races. I mean, as we saw the races dropping like flies, nobody's surprised when they were like, oh, we're not having, you know, this race in June, July, August. It was kind of unexpected. So, but they would still train for it. So actually what I did with a lot of my athletes, full well knowing these races were not going to happen for so many of them, was I set up a group, kind of like we do with C26, but I did with my athletes together as a subgroup. And we did a like a group app messenger, and they talk to each other and they cheer each other on. And what I did with the group is I said, listen, let's have 3 virtual races that we can do as a group. And one will be in August, one will be in September, and we'll have a culmination of October. And you guys can choose the distance, and we'll gradually go higher from there. And you guys can choose if you want to do just a running event, if you want to do a duathlon, or if you can do a triathlon, do a triathlon. And they've really, a lot of them have truly embraced it. And it's been kind of cool because it's been like, hey, I know XYZ is doing this exact like duathlon today, this weekend. And they posting pictures and everybody's cheering each other on. So even if it's not a race per se, it's a race within our team, or an event, I say, within our team. And it's really cool because people have surprisingly gotten, like, have improved. And you're thinking to yourself as a coach, holy crap, I can't wait to see them actually at a race where they're going to have true competition and how much better they're going to get. So I think that also was a huge reason so many kept showing up every single day, kept being consistent, because they're seeing that the proof is in the pudding. They are getting better, even with all these other, you know, limiters in motion right now. They have one thing that they can control, and that is how are they staying committed. And it's pretty cool. It's a huge testament to our community, and that they're doing it for, in my opinion, the right reasons.
Yeah, I think so too. You're kind of creating a common goal, and it's sort of a life or a like-minded sort of goal between everybody that's just committed to sort of getting better. And those are sort of, I guess, intangibles that I think work better when there's reinforcement and support and everything like that. And it sounds like you personally are getting a real kick out of that, watching everybody just kind of keep rising to the occasion and sort of that sort of thing. And now you also, you said you're coaching cross country over there. Is that correct?
Yeah.
How's that going with the kids?
Oh my God, it's so it's so fun. I've had the honor of getting to work with the high school kids here in Wiesbaden at the school on base, and thankfully our kids went back to school here. I know there's so many kids in the States that are still, you know, doing virtual school and everything like that. And you know, my niece and nephew are you know, a part of that group that they unfortunately are doing online school every day, and they have no sports. So I reinforced to the kids here, you guys have no idea how lucky you are. You have no idea how lucky you are. You have a season. Now things have changed drastic. You know, the measures have had to be put in place. You know, luckily we did not have to cut our numbers or anything, but for every, like 10 kids, they have to be like with they have to be away from 10 other kids, and they still have to be socially distanced at practice, and they have to wear masks unless they are physically running, and then they can take their masks off. But then once we get back together and we stretch or we're on the track talking or whatever, they have to put their masks back on. So there's always that reinforcement of telling the kids, put them on, put them on, put them on. You guys don't, take away this privilege. And it truly is a privilege, and because they have realized it is because football did not happen this year. So the football players don't have a season. Volleyball didn't happen. And even like cheerleading got sidelined because they can cheer, but they couldn't do stunts or touch each other, like do pyramids or anything. So
what fun is
our
that?
kids are, I don't know, just stand and cheer.
Pyramid is a go-to,
and they have
man.
nothing, no offense, but the poor cheerleaders, they're like, there's no game. So but you know what? These kids were locked up. When I say locked up, I don't mean they were like really locked up, but they were away from each other for 5.5 months.
Wow.
I mean, think about it. They stopped going to school on March 13th. And I'll always remember this. Friday the 13th here in Germany was the last day they went to school. And they did not go back to school until August 22nd, August 24th. That's 5.5 months. Like, that is a long time. That's the longest summer break ever. And they're so happy to be doing anything that they can be doing, that they're appreciative, because because in school, they all have to wear their masks 24/7. They can't sit near each other while they're eating lunch. There's no open campus. They can't leave school to go have lunch because they don't want kids like congregating outside together.
Well, I knew that Germany was taking this seriously when you told me Oktoberfest got canceled. I mean, it's like,
yes. I mean, like, really, that's like saying, Christmas is canceled, or,
I'm waiting
or
for it.
the Vatican can't have Easter Sunday service. It's like, when you ask me that, you're like, oh, are you enjoying Oktoberfest? I'm like, honey, there is no Oktoberfest. And but don't get me wrong, people are still drinking, but just not at the Hofbrauhaus.
Oh, okay.
In massive groups.
Well,
but,
of course, that's the underlying.
People were like, who's going to drink all the beer?
Right.
But yeah, it was weird. The fests weren't happening this year. It's like the States, you watch. I'll be honest with you, I haven't watched any baseball or football, but it's weird. Like when you see clips of TV and the base, like my mom was telling me she was watching the Milwaukee Brewers. So I threw that on real quick one day, and you see these paper people with fake masks on and the quote unquote stands. And it's just, as a player, you got to think, wow, those guys they're going to so incredibly appreciate it when the stadiums fill again. So,
well,
but these
and
kids,
it's like we're going to appreciate
are so
it.
lucky.
When
These
the
kids are so lucky.
come back.
They're able to run every single day at practice. And so now though, I'm sure you understand cross country, but in case people don't, cross country races are a mass start. You start on on a golf course or in a field, and everybody starts on a line, and you have hundreds of kids, and the gun goes off, and all these kids run out into this field, and they usually bottleneck towards a turn. We're not doing that this year. It's relay style. So what each team had to do here in Europe is we're only allowed to travel with at most 14 boys and 14 girls. And when we do that, then we had to rank them in order of, here's our number 1 runner, here's our number 2 runner, 3, 4, all the way up to 14, if you have that many runners. And then, so what they've done is they put their number 1 runners, each team puts their number 1 runners in a box, and everybody is socially distanced by at least 6 feet. And then they say go, and then 30 seconds later the number 2 runners walk up from their box, and then they go, and then so on and so forth. And then 3. So if you're a number 1 runner, your next runner behind you or group of runners behind you is 30 seconds back, and then 1 minute back, and then a minute 30. So you're constantly being chased or chasing. So even if you're beating somebody, that doesn't necessarily mean like that you've beat them, because they could have started behind you and
it's like a wave start.
Time. It's what?
It's like a wave start.
It's like a wave start. Totally. Yeah. It's like, hey, it's like what Ironman does with swimming. So it's really interesting because you can never get complacent. And I tell these kids, you can't get complacent. Like, don't ever think, well, oh, I beat this person, because you don't know where they started, like from another team, and nobody's wearing numbers that they can see. So it's so the dynamics and the strategy is different this year. And it helps some kids and it hurts other kids that depend on that pure adrenaline of knowing where they are in the beginning. So, but as a coach, it's kind of great because they're spread out so far. So I'm able to really individually give instruction and cheer on every single one of our 28 runners. And that's fun for me because I'm very loud. So,
very loud and enthusiastic, obviously.
I'm obnoxiously loud. I really get into my kids. I'll have to send you videos. Last weekend, I was literally in the middle of the woods. I purposely scan out. I go out and run the course, and I scan out areas where I know no other spectators are going to be. Mm-hmm. And last weekend, I was out in the woods, and I was able to run between this wooded area and see the kids multiple times on both sides of this trail because it was like an out and back. Mm-hmm. And they were like, one kid, I like ran out of the woods and I'm like, hey, go. And he's like, where did you come from, coach? Oh my God, you scared me. Mm-hmm. And so it's just so much fun. But yeah, so I've had the honor of coaching these young kids cross country, and it's been really, really cool. I haven't been per se a cross country coach. I've been a track coach for high school runners for a few years. Like when I was in Korea, I coached the track team there, but I never had the opportunity to coach cross country. So this year I took it on, and I have absolutely loved it. Many people know, like there's a big difference between cross country and track, and just the different types of athletes you deal with in both sports. And and it's a lot of fun.
So that's a perfect segue to the question I was going to ask you, is like how there's a difference. Like, so to you, what kind of lessons do you learn from these kids that you can then sort of pass on into your triathlon coaching with adults?
What are the things that I'm teaching adults, or I say to the adults? That
well, I don't know. Like, what kind of lessons can we learn from kids? What kind of lessons can we learn from kids that you're coaching, and like how does that translate into your or how do you distinctualize, or do you, between what you're doing out in cross country and then how is it one speed all on for you, or do you have different approaches?
So here's a big thing many adults in our triathlon, in our world, are obsessed with technology, mm-hmm. And we've got this smart trainer and this Garmin and this program and the newest and latest and greatest thing that's going to make me better, or that's going to that I can read. A lot of these kids don't even own a watch. That's why it's like, oh, wow. Hey guys, go out for a 40-minute run. Well, coach, how do I know it's 40 minutes? Well, why don't you have a watch? Well, I don't have a watch. Like, well, how do you tell time? Well, I have my phone. Well, then take your phone. Yeah. Like stuff that I always had at least a cheap old Timex watch that had chrono, so I could know like what time. These kids don't. So
that's still my jam.
I know. Yeah, it's great. It's cheap. It's awesome. It works. It's obviously tried and true. But so that is the part of coaching that is great because it's pure. And so I'm able to okay, this is how hard I want you to work. I want you to go out like you are. And so I do a lot of RPE work with the kids. Like, I'm like, listen, on a scale of 1 to 10, if 10 where you are working so hard, you're not able to say anything to the person next to you besides a yes or no answer, or just nod your head. I need you to do these 1,000 repeats, at a 7 to a low 8, where you should be able to say 3 or 4 words to someone next to you. If you cannot say 3 or 4 words, you're going too hard. If you could say a full sentence or more, you're not going hard enough. So that's the simplicity behind my coaching my athletes right now, is just getting them to learn the difference between different paces. Because a lot of kids will run and they will do the same pace day in and day out, like a lot of triathlon swimmers will do. They'll get in the water and they'll swim for 30 minutes straight and get out and do that day in and day out, and then wonder why they're not getting faster. Well, you're not getting faster because you're not swimming faster.
Yeah.
You've got to use your different gears. And the same thing is applied to cross country, to distance runners. And so it's really fun going from this young age and teaching them the basics, and hoping that you're able to grab a hold of them before they get too caught up in bad habits. With like bad habits, I mean, a couple of the kids were addicted this summer to pace. Well, I have to run at a, let's just use an example. One of my guys. Okay, coach, how fast should I be running this run? Well, I don't know. Well, why are you asking me that? It's an easy run. It's a zone, what we call a zone 2. And I tell them, this is how you should be feeling during it. And they don't know. Like, this kid was like, well, I always run 6:30 pace. Well, if it's an easy run, then maybe 6:30 is too hard for you today, especially if it's 90 degrees outside and you just did speed the last day or two. You need to be recovering. Let's not go off of pace. I don't want you turning on. I don't want you looking and getting addicted, because like many adults, they will look at the watch and they'll be like, oh my God, I'm not running 6:30 pace. That must mean I'm getting slower. No, it just means maybe your body needs a day to recover, and you're not or it's really hot and it's 10 degrees hotter than what your body's used to. And the 6:30 pace actually feels like a 6-minute pace to your body. And you tried to teach the kids that, and some of them are receptive and some of them truly are coachable and understand. And then others have an ego and are addicted, and that leads into their adulthood. So it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. A lot of the kids are out there just to socialize, and you as a coach have to compartmentalize. Okay, I have to coach this athlete differently than coaching this athlete. I cannot coach everybody the same. They're not emotionally the same. They're not emotionally doing this for the same reasons. Mm-hmm. And not that there's a right answer or a wrong answer, but I can't scream at a kid the same way I would scream at somebody who, and I say scream, I mean coach them, cheer them on, the same way I would somebody who I know could get to this next level.
Yeah, I find that's one of the most challenging.
Sense?
Yeah, it is. Makes a lot of sense. It's one of the more challenging things about coaching triathlon in general, I think, is that there are different purposes out there for different people. And, in your case of the cross country team, I'm sure you're right. A lot of people just kind of like being around people or whatever. And it's hard to teach, an old dog, new tricks kind of thing too, because I'm sort of that way. I'm sort of that person as a kid who never really, quote unquote, listen to a lot of things. I'd like to figure things out on my own, or I always thought I had the answer or whatever. But it's so weird how, disciplined triathletes that will actually listen to what you are saying, as a coach, and follow that plan, actually get better and stay healthier and get faster over time, and if they have the patience. But a lot of kids, I'm sure, don't have patience for sure. They always just want to be going 6:30 or 6:29 the next day,
Well, or they don't understand like the ebbs and flows of training that,
Yeah, nobody.
Every race is, first of all, every race you can't necessarily look at your times. I mean, and especially with cross country, because every course is different and the weather can be so incredibly different from August to October, especially when you're living like in Germany, it's very different. We're literally changing to 2 different seasons within a week or two. And they don't understand. Well, oh my God, coach, I got slower from last week. I'm getting worse. No, we were on a hillier course and it was pouring down rain. So let's not look at your time. Let's look at, how did you feel? What was going on mentally? What was going on emotionally? Where did you feel stronger? Did you feel stronger on these hills than you did, say, a month ago? Like when you would have done this workout a month ago, were you able to carry on? So you have to teach the athlete that there's other aspects of growth and success and progress that don't necessarily translate in time. And then you're able to scour through hey, look at a month ago, this person beat you. Now look at, you are beating this person. So there's another, and yet you hesitate to do that too much because you also don't want them to focus in on other people and basing their success on, well, I beat this person. Yes, there is that component of it, but as we say, the thief of joy is comparison. So it's a fine line as a coach to figure out, one, it takes a lot of energy and time to figure out each athlete, the psychology behind them, what makes them tick, what I say to one athlete, there's no way I could say to another, because it just won't work for them. It took me a bit. Here's a story for you. It took me a little while this summer or this year. This one kid, you see this potential. You see that, God, he could be a great athlete. Oh my God. But he just doesn't put in the effort, the time, shows up to practice, not even with his shoes. And you're just like, dude, you're wasting my time. You're getting frustrated as a coach and as somebody who truly, truly loves the sport. And then luckily the other coach on the team, she's like, we sat down and she's like, let me tell you, here's the story. This kid needs this sport because if he doesn't come here, bad stuff's going to happen in other areas of his life. So he's not necessarily here to be an athlete. He's here to be social in a good way. And that, boom, okay, got it. I know now I have to be a different type of coach for this athlete. Mm-hmm. But that takes time, and you only have so many weeks with the kids. I'm not a teacher, so I don't see them from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. So I have to really take the time when I do have them, which is, about 3 hours after school, to figure each one out, figure out their likes, their dislikes, what's going on, and being very graceful with them and realizing they're still kids. Their brains are still developing. Their hormones are raging. Their emotions are all over the place. And that's hard for me because I'm so far removed from that part of my life. But I do have my daughter on the team. So I do feel it at home, the ups and the downs of teenage angst. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I'm sure you do.
It's like I said, I love it. I love this part of coaching because it's hands-on, and it's something I miss from being a coach to my triathletes that I don't get to see, and I don't get hands-on on a daily basis, which I would love to have someday.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
Yeah,
I'm sure you will.
Yeah.
You'll probably
when
Corona,
when COVID's over, I'll be at these camps and I'll be
there you go
with you guys.
Excited.
So.
All right. Well, awesome. Like if we're going to keep doing these, but if you'd like to get, if anybody wants to get a hold of you, Jessica, how do they do that?
Well, I mean, all my information is on the C26 website, and they can reach out and hit me up there. Otherwise, if you want to send me a direct message, you can contact me at ironmanwisconsin@hotmail.com. Ironman Wisconsin's all one word, all lowercase, at Hotmail. And
I love that you snagged that email address. It's like
I've had that.
Was that your did you have that before you won Ironman Wisconsin?
I
had
that before I won. Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
That's putting out in the universe what you want.
There you go. That's all you need to do. If you want to be Ironman champion, just get an email.
Yeah. So just hit me up or you can always contact Robbie or Mike and ask about our coaching, and I'd love to hear from people from all ages all over the world and help them out with their triathlon endeavors or endurance sport endeavors, whatever that may be.
Right on. Yeah. C26triathlon.com. Jess got a little bio up there, and you can check that out and contact us and let us know what you think. But it's been awesome. I always love talking to you, Jessica.
I know. We can always talk forever. So.
I know we're Wisconsin kids, and we could go on and on and on. But we're going to stop for now. But we will be talking again soon.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Well, have a great night.
You too.